Today, Downright Sports is back, and we talk Clemson and Alabama, Part 3. Parody? Really? Let's go. It's showtime, everybody, and Downright Sports is back. I'm your host, Brent. This is the most underground YouTube show, Instagram show, Facebook show, known to man. If you've never seen it before, let me fill you in. I'm just a fan who gives his opinion on the sports topics of today, and we get started now. The show will start off with the Bulletin Board, and kicking off today's Bulletin Board material, former Georgia quarterback Travis Field, or I'm wrong completely, Justin Field, that's why we take notes, everybody, is transferring to the Ohio States. Justin was the #1 recruit in 2018, but was a backup this past season. He's choosing to take his talents north to Ohio State. Number 2, the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger are working on a new deal to restructure his contract because there's talks that they may have to do something with Antonio Brown. If not the best wide receiver, he's in the top 3, and either trading him or cutting him. They want to free up some money so they can make other moves. And then finally, I know it's a little old, but UConn girls basketball lost for the first time since 2013. Can you believe that? The team that beat them then beat them the other day, the Baylor University. It's their first overtime loss. Their last time they lost in regulation was 2014. How nutty is that? It's 100, I wrote it down, some crazy thing. It's like a 162 game winning streak. Where is it? I wrote it down. Live TV, guys, nothing like it. 126 game winning streak, and no team in men's basketball, professional basketball, has done what those women have done. And if you think about it, this is a different group of women to keep that streak going. So how about that? Hey guys, when we come back, we'll move on to the topic: Clemson, Alabama, playoff college championship. What? Downright Sports. This is the topic, and if you've never seen my show before, every second segment we always have a topic. Whatever this week's topic is, of course, Clemson versus Alabama, Part 3. Parody. What? That's the title. Get it? Because there's no parody. Because since this college playoff thing has started, it's only been Clemson, it's only been Alabama in some form of variation. And guess what? We want more. Because how did we get here? Alabama just ran through everybody in the SEC, and Clemson ran through everybody in the ACC. It's a lot of S's and A's, something about the South, boy, I tell you. Anyway, if you take a look at Clemson, right, their key victories. They beat Texas A&M. So did Alabama. Clemson beat them in a 2-point win. Alabama beat them in a 20-point win. Syracuse was a lot better this year. Clemson beat Syracuse. Blew out North Carolina State when they were ranked 16th. Blew out Boston College when they were ranked 17th. They beat South Carolina, in-state rival, and they beat Notre Dame in the playoff game. Blew them out 30-3. We'll touch on that in the next segment. Bama's key victories: LSU, big rivalry game. They blew them out 29-0. Mississippi State blew them out 24-0. Georgia they didn't blow them out, but Georgia was never really in the game. In fact, fun fact, thank you, Orlando, Georgia lost to both of Alabama's backup quarterbacks in the same calendar year. How insane is that to happen? And then they played Oklahoma, who everybody thought was supposed to be in it, and guess what? Beat them. In fact, Oklahoma never led in the entire game. So, what do we do? How will this game play out? You got Clemson. Their defensive line is just ready to roll. You got Alabama. Their offense is supposed to be unstoppable. And when great offense meets great defense, you know who always wins? Great defense. You're getting ahead of yourself, Brent. If you take a look at Clemson's defense, man, they don't play games. The teams don't rush against them. They only average 2.6 yards a carry against Clemson's defense. Clemson only allows 280 yards. If you look at Bama, Bama averages passing the ball 325 yards, rushing the ball 202 yards. So now you're finding yourself in a situation where they're just going to butt heads and something's got to give. If you pay attention, Clemson's got the ACC Defensive Player of the Year with 11.5 sacks. And Farrelly, this guy is a beast. He's a DN, just comes out there and blows things open. If you look at their other DN, Austin Bryant, 8.5 sacks a game. Christian Wilkins, 5 sacks a game. He's an All-American. So you got 3. Alabama, looking from their defensive standpoint, only has one guy, Isaiah Byrd, who has 1.5 sacks. That's it. Clemson's got 3 guys that have over 5, over 6 sacks a game. So they are that the Clemson D line is just fun to watch because nobody moves against these guys at all, and it's going to make it very hard for Talua, who threw 41 touchdowns this season. And not to mention, Bama's got 3 running backs that all averaged over 600 yards this season. So the question's going to be, which offense will we see from Bama? Will we see Talua try to throw the ball over the place, which would mean Alabama's offensive line is going to have to give them enough time to make those decisions. And judging based on what I've seen from Clemson and the numbers, you're not getting the time because Clemson's D-line is not giving you that, meaning that Clemson's backfield has to be ready, meaning their DBs, their safeties are going to be looking for balls in the air to collect, what's that, kids? My favorite, interceptions. But here's what you got. You got Nick Saban, a guy who's going for his not first, not second, not third, but his 6th championship. You got Nick Saban looking to win number 6 most out of any coach ever. He's looking to take care of that. But you got Dabo Swinney looking to win his 2nd championship, and possibly, since Urban Meyer's now retired, maybe Dabo's is the best coach in college sports right now as far as football is concerned. Who wins, kids? Break it, make it simple. Leave it easy. Clemson. Clemson's not going to blow them out. Bama won't blow Clemson out, but Clemson's going to win, and it's going to come from the defensive side of the ball. The last time these teams faced each other, it was close each time. They went toe-to-toe, and this time it's going to be close again, and Clemson will hoist that trophy at the end of the year. Brent and Jesse, you're welcome. Hey, when we return, a brand new segment called The Post Game, where I tell you why I think this playoff thing needs to be fixed, and I'll explain why. Downright Sports. Hey, this is The Post Game, where I just basically wrap the show up a little bit. Shout out to everybody out there that watches the show and appreciate all the love. You guys are awesome. We'll be back next week, of course, with the recap of what happened. But the playoff system right now is flawed, not for the amount of teams they're in. I think 4 is perfect. Here's where it's flawed. The selection makes 0 sense to me. And I tell you why. I know what you're going to, everybody, if you pay attention to me on Facebook, you pay attention to me on Twitter, you know who I'm going to. I'm going to UCF here. UCF was 12-0. Notre Dame was 12-0. You're going to come back to me about the strength of schedule. Well, in college sports, the strength of schedule is kind of iffy because they make their schedules like 5 years in advance. And in all honesty, tell me who in the blue hell Notre Dame really played where they should have found themselves in the playoffs. And if you saw what Notre Dame did in the playoffs, they got smacked. Yeah, they got beat embarrassingly. If you look what UFC did, UFC last year beat Auburn to stay undefeated, a SEC school, a school somewhat, a division that some say is next to perfection. This year, they did lose to LSU because they had nothing to play for, I believe. I believe you put them in, you put UFC against Clemson, maybe you got yourself a better game because you got a team that wants to prove something. If you pay attention to the rankings this past year, you had a team like Fresno State, 11-2, Boise State, 10-3, and here are the teams that will rank the hell of them. LSU 9-3, Florida 9-3, Texas 9-4, who lost to Maryland, by the way, Utah 9-4, Mississippi 8-4. So if you're creating this playoff system, just go on a limb and say, hey, this playoff system is for teams that play in the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, and maybe every now and then the Big 12. For the rest of you, go kick rocks, because we don't want you in, because you don't move the needle, or you're not part of the good old boy system. Oh, that's the clock, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. Another great show. Today's music was by Mike Myth, executive music producer of this show. Go check out my other show on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud, known as I'm Just Talking. So all I do is just talk on there. Executive producer of that show is the one and only DJ Chase. And hit me up at Twitter, Brent Reed 18. Hit me up at Instagram at Down Entertainment. Hit me up. I think I'm done. That's all the hit ups I got. All right, guys. See you next week. Deuces.